The East Lancashire flooding problem. This is the southern side of Pendle Hill and forms the northern border of the River Calder and River Calder rainwater catchment area. The hills on the horizon forms the eastern, southern and western borders of the River Calder, River Calder rainwater catchment area, which totals around 240 square miles and can produce a runoff of over 30 million litres a day. Padiham. This is the River Calder and is seen passing Gorfo Pole, which is off to the right behind the trees. It should be noted that back in the 70s this river was straight and not starting to meander like it is starting to do now, and we did see a bulldozer maintain the riverbed back in the 70s. This is looking downstream on the River Calder towards Padiham town centre. It should be noted the river has high banks on both sides and as such does provide a basic flood resistance. This shows the amount of sand and gravel that has been allowed to build up and reduce the capacity of the River Calder, which will lead to an increased risk of flooding. This area of the River Calder in the town centre was the site of the main flooding back in 2015, and as such has had some flood defence measures put in place. These are yet to be tested. This section has a flood level of 2.5 metres. When filmed, the river was running at 0.6 metre. This is the now unused Padiham weir, which has had some of its height removed, but still artificially raises the river by up to half a metre. If this was flood removed, then the river would have a flooding level of 3 metres. This is another view of the now unused weir, and if it was removed along with other weirs on the River Calder, would also help fish to get further up the stream and make the river healthier. There is precedence for the removal of weirs on the River Calder, as can be seen at the site of the former Padiham power station, where a weir had been in place to artificially raise the river to allow for water extraction for use by the power station for steam generation. The area has now been fully returned back to its original state. The real reason why Whalley floods. This is the site of the weir at Whalley on the River Calder, and is only a short distance downstream from where the River Calder joins the River Calder. These now combined rivers can have a flow rate of over 30 million litres a day. When originally built, the Whalley weir was used to provide water to feed a water-powered mill in Whalley. It should be noted that there was no flooding in Whalley prior to the weir being built. only real use today for the weir is a small hydroelectrical generator on the south bank, which only produces a relatively small amount of power and was being maintained on the day of filming. It can still generate hydroelectricity if the weir was removed and require a 100-metre pipe placed upstream to get a decent head of water. This is a view downstream of the weir, where islands have been allowed to develop, which reduces the capacity and flow rate of the river and increases the flood risk. Gravel and sand deposits are being allowed to form on one side of the King Street Bridge, which reduce the capacity and flow rate of the river and increase the flood risk. This is the old sluice gate that controlled the amount of water that was fed to the old water mill to produce power. This sluice gate should be closed. However, it is currently flowing water, as can be seen, which it should not be doing. You can clearly see that this mill race is overgrown and not really used. This is the other end of the mill on King Street. Instead of feeding water to the now converted for residential use mill, the water is instead fed into the storm drains. This leads to situations like this when the river is in flood, a sort of Trojan horse circumventing the flood defences. Weirs were used to artificially raise river heights for navigation and for water extraction for both power or industrial processes, and the two examples shown in this video now only cause flooding and should be removed, as with the increased rainfall from global warming we need all the capacity in our rivers.